What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're finally doing a regionals question answer video. I broke the system and instead of recording weekdays, we're recording them on the weekends. So that's how we're gonna start filming these question answers. So in 1 week, while we're recording this, it's gonna be Fort Wayne regionals. It's gonna upload Wednesday, so it'll be like 3 or 4 days till regionals. Yeah, I'm joined by 3 people, and they're all from the same team. And I know we'll talk about that later on. This is actually like a really big deal happening, especially if you're going to Memphis regionals. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce it, but it's on their website, so whatever. We'll talk. It's public information now. But we'll talk to Reno first. Reno, like I said, you don't know, I have a mouse over him right now. But Reno, let's introduce yourself real quick, bud.
How's it going? I'm Reno Bernardo. I'm a player out of Columbus, Ohio. I was contacted by NLG and basically formed some sort of panel to find a group of players like worthy of sponsorship, this opportunity that they're bringing to the table. And we have 9 players now who are representing NLG out of Kettering, Ohio. It's a very exciting opportunity. I'm really glad to be a part of this. And yeah, got 2 other members here of the team, Riley and Kevin.
Yeah. So I know we've seen Kevin. He's on the left of me. We've seen him all the time, but I know we haven't talked to Riley before. So Riley, just introduce yourself real quick, because I know a lot of people haven't heard from you before.
Yeah, hi, I'm Riley Holbert, also from Columbus, Ohio. Reno and I worked really closely this past year on our sort of little local team, and I'm on Team NLG as well. This actually was my first year in competitive Pokemon trading cards, but I've been involved my whole life with Pokemon. I was actually a Smogon player for years, and I moved on past that, thankfully. But super glad to be here and super glad to be part of the channel. Love Team Fish Knuckles. I'm a knuckler myself. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. That sounds
Sweet.
good to me. A knuckler. Is that what we're going to call the fans now?
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
There's Team Fish Knuckles and Knuckles featuring Knuckles.
Alright, so if you don't know, this weekend coming up is 4 Wayne regionals. First regionals in the States is expanded. The Arc-Out's ban's been put in place. The Forest of Giant Plants ban put in place. Shiftry has been unbanned, so if you're feeling spicy, play Shiftry this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've been testing all week.
Shiftry just dominated the League Cup I came from. It was a complete dominance. No other deck showed up.
Hey, like 2 years ago at a Cities, to be honest, there was a guy who got top 4, I think, with Shiftry. So,
Which one?
it was during one of the Tennessee Marathon ones. It was T. I don't know if you met him before, Kevin.
No, I mean which shift tree? Because there was an actually okay shift tree. One that
Shiftry that you flip a coin of heads, put the cards back in their deck. Shiftry.
there was one that like had attack command or something that was really good.
And no, he would use that and Sableye to reuse all of his stuff and get all of his stuff back, and just like that's how he won. That's how he won his games.
Hey.
So.
Nice.
What you got to?
So, I mean, it can work. Maybe not so much with Trevenant running around, but hey, you know, whatever. It was when Keldeo Blastoise was like first starting to come out and stuff like that. That's how long.
Shiftry's a dark type. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's good. So, all right. So, let's before we hop into the questions, I got some questions of my own. I don't know if these actually are relevant questions, but these are the big questions that people want to ask, basically, or what I'm asking. With the Arceus ban, do you think we're going to see like more Stage 2 decks coming out? I know from the start we already talking about like Darkrai, Night March, Trevenant are the big ones on the top of my head, maybe Mega Ray and stuff like that. But I know with Arceus, people always said, no, I can't play evolution decks. But do you think that actually will change anything or not? And I'll go with Kevin first, because I know, you always like to test weird stuff, Kevin. So do you think the Arceus unbanning will release more Stage 1 and Stage 2 decks?
Definitely more than 0, which is what it was before. I would say there's going to be a decent number of people that try to make Guardy expanded, just because it's so good in Standard right now. The problem is that Trevenant's still a thing, so like Rare Candy is really hard to deal with, actually getting to play that. But if you have a bunch of Stage 1s and like the Diancie or whatever to go through that, you might be able to make Guardy work, but I wouldn't really expect great performance out of another Stage 2 besides Guardy this weekend. But Stage 1 decks for sure are going to be bigger than they used to be, because, Archeops kind of shut down things like Flareon, Vespiquen, and Garbodor and other kind of things like that. So we're definitely going to see some stage ones.
Okay. Now, Raleigh, going to you. Like you said, you haven't played competitive that much. In your eyes, do you think it's going to change a bunch of things coming from, like, I guess, a newer kind of player?
For sure. So I think there's a couple of consequences of this. One of the obvious ones is, like Kevin said, Gardevoir is going to be a factor. Even if it's not a huge one, people are going to try and import their standard Gardevoir into Expanded. That's just kind of a natural thing that people do with standard lists. Kind of building off the idea of Vespiquen, it opens up new opportunities for decks like Vespiquen. Previously, you'd have to tech in the Wobbuffet and stuff like that just to get around Hexmaniac, to get around Archeops. And now Vespiquen now has those tech slots open for more interesting options, or perhaps like going back to the blacksmith route for decks that would opt out of that in Vespiquen. Another interesting thing is Greninja. A lot of people still play Greninja and just sort of ignore the fear of Archeops. But with that gone, you don't have to focus on the Wallies and the Evosodas and all that stuff. And Greninja Unhinged is really, really strong. Even under Trevenant, if you get a rough seize down, it can just eventually evolve up and deal with it. And I think that's kind of a force that people can't ignore. I know I kind of always like gravitate a little towards Greninja, and I regret it frequently, but it won Arizona last year, and it's not unnotable, even though people always have. I know Kevin personally has a lot of hate for Greninja.
I'll be the one to ignore it. I literally forgot that was a deck that evolved when I was
for sure. I'm sure you did.
So,
and then there's also random stage ones. Golisopod destroys Toad, as I learned today the hard way. And I think that could actually be an interesting option, as well as just general Garbodor decks are going to be a factor in Expanded as well. So yeah, if evolutions are going to be way bigger factor than ever before.
Okay. What about you, Reno? You have anything else you want to add to it?
Just touching on what they both said, this is just, Archeops being banned opens the opportunity for evolution decks to come back. They still face a lot of the same problems regardless, with the early pressure that they face by Night March or Trevenant or even Mega Ray or Darkrai. That early pressure is still a lot to deal with, but if they can handle those threats, they'll definitely see a lot of play. I definitely think like Golisopod and Garbodor, for instance, perhaps even Espeon GX, will definitely see use, and then the more people test, the more we'll see these decks, like the evolution decks, come out.
Yeah, that's true. I will have to agree with like the whole Trevenant thing too. Like you might be able to use your stage 1s and stage 2s, but if you get item locked, you're like, all right, cool. Guess I still lose. Like,
yeah.
It's nice to not have to worry about Plume coming out turn 1. I mean, but that's just one less factor in a pool full of ridiculous threats.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so let's start jumping straight to the questions. And the first question is a stage 1 that nobody even talked about. I know it's Kevin's favorite. Is do you think Donphan has a chance? Now, I don't think. Riley, have you ever seen Donphan in action?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So, do you think it has a chance in this format, or no?
Oh no. Oh no. If you're really planning on dodging Trevenant all day and hitting all the Darkrai players in the room, then go for it, and all power to you. The Donphan lacks a little bit of the oomph I think you need right now.
Okay. Now, Reno, you talked about like decks that need to survive after turn 1, but with Donphan you have Robo Substitutes. I mean, it can take its hits, and then you get you got Donphan with Focus Sash, stuff like that, but you still don't think it has a shot either?
No, not really. It says too many matchups that it just doesn't do like enough or anything. It's just my opinion.
Okay, all right. Now, Kevin, I know you loved Donphan when it came out. It was your favorite deck. Do you think you'll still play it?
I'm definitely playing Donphan this weekend. I can't resist it. Spinning turn, I just can't get enough.
But what do you play now instead of Hawlucha? Because Hawlucha only hits EXs, and now we got a bunch of GXs and stuff. Like, how do you substitute your...
Well, you got to play your own Marshadow and Toad to item lock them back. And then you're just going to be in an Acerola war until you get your wreck up, and then you just one-shot everything with wreck.
All right. I'm so proud
Genius.
of you. So proud of you. Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit about Vespiquen and Night March already, but is Karen going to be one of the most decks outside of... Well, he said outside of Vespiquen and Flareon, or Vespiquen and Night March. Why is it going to be in Vespiquen and Night March? I don't understand.
Oh, I read this one earlier. I think he's saying non-Vespiquen and non-Night March decks. Do you think that all of them are going to be running
okay.
Karen?
Okay, yeah. Outside of it, okay. I'm just from Tennessee and can't read, so that's the problem right there. So I guess the question is, would you play Karen in your deck with the threat of Vespiquen and Night March running like crazy? How about you, Reno? Let's go first.
Well, being a Rayquaza player, yeah, that easily fits into my deck, and I really don't like Night March, so yep, Karen's going in there.
And even though, like, with the threat of them playing Jolteon and Joltik, you think Karen's still enough to take down the evil decks like these, or how you feel about that?
Well, it depends on your deck, to be honest. I don't think you can just like have a lot of success teching such a random card in any deck, but Seismitoad and Karen definitely patch up that matchups, relatively well in a lot of situations, but a lot of decks just can't easily get that out very well, Rayquaza gets both of those cards out very well.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I know last year with Sam Chin, and we saw him playing it in his Eels deck. He'd play like a Sipes Karen combo, and that's how he said he beat Night March. So you're playing I don't know. You can splash in the Sipes. Why not do it? I guess kind of question. So how about you? How about you, Raleigh? Would you play Karen in your decks or no?
So I think it's pretty deck dependent. I don't think Karen's particularly effective unless you pair it with something like a Seismitoad. That's typically the strategy with Rayquaza, as well as you would promote a Seismitoad and Karen and then Quaking Punch. Mm-hmm. In my experience with Night March, you can recover from multiple Karens in a single game if that's all they're doing to you. And that also forces them to have a stagnant state. You're not drawing, you're not Lysandering, you're not advancing your board state when you Karen. So if you don't have a follow-up, it's almost a waste of your turn. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like, if you're a Darkrai player and you're afraid of Night March Marshadow, Karen might not be the best answer for that.
Okay. Now, Kevin, in your Donphan list, do you think you can put like your the Karens in there, or how do you like go about
you
the
have
matchup?
to. Any deck that you're playing Seismitoad in, you have to play Karen. Plus, like, if you use it to get all your Donphans back and they have to go through 6 Donphans, it's just too much for them to deal with. Like, you got to play Eco Arm too to get your focus sessions back. They're like 3-shotting your 1-prize attackers, and they're just not gonna win.
There we go.
Sounds like a good.
Just play 4 Karen, honestly.
So yeah, I can see that Kevin's really on that Donphan hype train. I'm so excited to see what's gonna happen with him. All right, so we talked a little bit about Trevenant, and a lot of people are like, all right, so what's the question? With all the Trevenant, Necrozma, I guess, I say Necrozma, I don't know how to say his man's name. Sorry, guys.
Sounds right to me.
Necrozma person.
Necrozma, there we go. All right, Necrozma talk. Do you think non-Rough Seas decks that aren't Darkrai and Night March stand a chance, i.e. Mega Rayquaza and Volcanion? So, guys, you heard Reno already. He said he loves Mega Ray. So how's your Mega Ray versus Trevenant Necrozma matchup, Reno?
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. I've considered a lot of decks. I don't feel like the Giratina promo does enough on its own. I've considered like Mr. Mime, but man, like people are even putting DCs in their Trev deck, so they just Dimension Valley, Mystery Energy over to it, and then win the game in one turn. It's really hard to block. So, I mean, unless I'm doing something crazy like taking a Mr. Mime specifically for that, and even then, that's like, I don't know. I might just have to take a loss there.
Yeah, that's true. And so this Thursday coming up, a lot of people don't know this, but we're playing Trevenant and Necrozma, and I promise, it is stupid. Like, when you get Black Ray GX, take 8 prize cards, like, holy cow, this card's dumb.
Yeah.
Kevin, how about you? How do you feel about Trevenant and Necrozma?
It's going to be one of the best decks. I think especially just because it's so early in the season, and we don't really know what the meta's going to be. I mean, we kind of know, but just not letting your opponent play is kind of good. And then just basically any major EX deck is going to have to fear it. It's going to be a...
He's so scared he can't even say anything.
That's why I got to play Donphan, because they can't hit with that with Necrozma.
Man, Kevin, I feel like by the end of this talk, you're going to have people convinced that Donphan's to play somehow.
If I see like 10 Donphans in the room, I will have succeeded.
You got one right here. I'm on Donphan now. You convinced me.
You've made a believer out of Riley.
right, Riley, how about you? How do you feel about Trevin Necrozma?
Oh my gosh, is it terrifying. When Trevenant starts reliably taking games off Turbo Dark, that's when you know there's a problem. And Necrozma has started to make that a thing. Like, let's be honest, they probably delayed that Tapu Lele just because of how insane it would be in Trevenant Necrozma.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I imagine we're probably never going to get that Trevenant printed. I mean, that Tapu Lele printed. Sorry.
So, it's terrifying. I've been testing out all sorts of techs and different deck builds to try and sort of mitigate the Trevenant matchup and make it as winnable as possible. Unfortunately, it's very hard.
Alright. So basically, if you're playing Trevenant Necrozma, you're doing something right, because it seems like it's really, really good right now.
Rusty's is a good card.
Rusty's a very good card.
Sure.
So, Eels.
Vaporeon, your Don fan.
That's the answer right there.
Then you can spin it, turn, hit Volcanions for weakness and stuff like too. Man, you're going places, Kevin. Alright, so this next question is about Volcanions. So with people bashing Kiawe and Expanded, do you think it's worth running? In my personal opinion, you got Blacksmith, which seems like 100% better than Kiawe, unless I'm crazy. How about you, Riley? Which one do you think is like Kiawe bad or good and Expanded?
Very bad. Is you're ending your turn when you could just Blacksmith onto a Turtonator or Volcanion for roughly the same effect. You don't even need the 4th energy.
Alright, how about you, Kevin? Kiawe bad or good?
Well, if you want a card that ends your turn with its effect, you'd probably be better off playing Tropical Beach and Volcanion. So, that's an option. I think, because I played Volcanion in Toronto last year, and you don't even have to power heater anymore. Like, with Blacksmith, you pretty much just attach and Blacksmith every turn and knock stuff out. So, yeah, Kiawe would be a waste of space.
For that. True. Alright, how about you, Reno? Kiawe bad or good?
I don't think it's horrible, but it's just a little too situational compared to running extra copies of Blacksmith, probably.
Okay. And also, think about the Trevenant Necrozma. I thought about this, but I forgot to say it. Today, we had 2 Trevenant Necrozmas win. We had Steve win, wherever Steve's playing at, and then Jay win. Yeah, and then we had Jay win in Missouri. So that's 2 Trevenant players winning with Trevenant. Just to let you know. Just food for thought. Just put that out there. All right, so we'll jump straight to this question. What's the favorite deck to win the first regional of the season? Kevin, how about you?
It's definitely between Trevenant and Darkrai. I would say Darkrai just because of how consistent it is and the fact that it has weakness over Trevenant. Yeah, if they actually get the turn 1 going first, item lock, and then attack with Necrozma at any point, you probably lose. But I don't think I'm too worried about that. Darkrai is probably my favorite right now.
Okay, Reno, about you?
I would say it's a toss-up between those 2, and I would throw Night March in there too. I'm playing Mega Ray as a dark horse, but yeah, I think that those 3 would be the best 3. One of those 3.
All right, and how about you, Riley?
You know, if Don Fan doesn't somehow get the W, I kind of can buy into what Kevin's saying about Darkrai being a little more consistent, but I just think the Trev lists are just getting more and more optimized and more terrifying to play against, especially with how many EXs are played right now. So I'm kind of favoring Trev a little bit right now.
Okay, there we go. All right, so this question is personally for Reno. It says, how much did you cry when Roaring Skies and Mega Quasar rotated out of Standard?
Well, they actually don't rotate until tomorrow at about... they don't rotate until, let's say, 24 hours from now. So I'll let you know amount of time. I've got a lot to think about. I've got a League Cup tomorrow. It's Standard. I got my last ride with my boy. Looking forward to it. So, to answer that question, I'll get back to you in 24 hours.
Yeah. If you see him crying on Saturday, it's because he did bad at Mega Ray and probably lost the League Cup as well. So.
Fair.
Yeah, fair. All right. So, oh man, another Trevnet question. How much Trev and how much Turbo Dark do you expect to see? Really? Really? I'm gonna say a lot. I don't know if y'all have a different answer than that.
Many.
Enough.
I expect more Darkrai than Trevenant.
Bring on the dark. We always see a lot of dark at Midwest regionals, so I definitely see the floods of that coming in.
Plan to play against multiple of both
Yeah. So,
in 9 rounds.
if for some reason you're going to Fort Wayne regionals and you don't think you're playing against Dark or Trevenant, you're crazy, basically. So, yeah. Alright, somebody said this same popular. Okay. Alright, so do you think there'll be any rogue decks, or are there any rogue decks that you expect to see, like Bronzong or something like that? I don't think Bronzong's really that rogue. Used by that statement, but I know Russell, he's always talking about playing Flygon, which you can consider that rogue if you want to, so at least one if Russell's still on that hype train. About you, Reno, you think we'll see any rogue decks this weekend?
This weekend? Oh, yeah, Fort Wayne. I definitely see some Waterbox or some Toad coming out, maybe. Definitely Toad. We'll see Toad. I don't whether that's rogue or not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like rogue is a weird word. Like Dice Toad has been played,
I
but
feel like we shouldn't expect it if it's really rogue.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other than that, I could totally see some of the Carbink deck coming out, just with Marshadow. That maybe not Carbink as much, but the Marshadow Fighting Toolbox. I see that coming out a little bit.
Okay. Okay. All right. How about you, Riley? Think you can expect some rogue decks this weekend?
The field is so insanely open now. I would be surprised if something didn't surprise me, if that makes sense. I think some sort of fighting deck is going to show up. I don't know if that's going to be in the form of Carbink or a Marshadow box, but I talked to multiple groups that are trying to get something fighting to work, and I think it potentially could if they can find a good way to deal with Trevenant.
Okay. How about you, Kevin? I know you like playing your rogue spicy stuff.
Yeah, I think there's going to be at least one Marshadow Donk that gets day 2. You heard about this?
No.
You play Marshadow and Latios EX and like lasers and Regirock EX, and you hit like up to 180 going first turn 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Never thought about Regirock EX in that.
So it's
Yeah.
like you're playing Trump card over again, but this time without Trump card.
Yep.
He was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
you can play 4 Regirocks, a bunch of Vipers, laser.
It's a Viper.
And, yeah, because it bumps the poison damage. You can hit 180 with this thing on going first turn 1.
Oh, okay,
awesome.
the new Viper. I know what you're talking about. In my head, I was thinking of Superior for some reason. I was like, that's
No.
what the heck?
I think there's going to be one in day 2, at least.
Hey, man. Plus powers, you got whatever, man. You're good to go. Douse Machine, let's go there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But it's got, like, if it was best of 1, I could definitely see it. But with the best of 3...
You don't even like lose if you don't get the donk too, which is the funny thing.
That's a lot of damage pressure going forward.
It's coming out their turn 1 every time, and you can actually play Toad with it too to kind of have a stable mid game.
Damn.
I thought more about this than I should have, by the way.
And then what you could do is you can play one of Crosman there, so when you smack everybody for like 150 and they retreat to like save them, you're like, whatever, Black Ray GX and you win.
There you go.
There you go, Necrozma. He's coming out, man. He is a deck to watch out for. Alright, so this deck won Worlds, and somebody, I guess, trying to bring it back to life. Blastoise with Keldeo to reset Lapras GX. I think he meant to say Blastoise with Lapras, but I don't know why he said Blastoise with Keldeo reset Lapras GX. I guess basically he wants to update Blastoise with the Lapras. And does Aqua Patch help out Blastoise or not? Go Reno, what do you think?
Aqua Patch and Blastoise, I honestly no, I don't think so. You're much better off with, like your Starmies or Energy Retrieval or whatever, stuff like that. Not Lapras, I definitely think that Water Box in general is something to be worked on, but with Blastoise, not so much. I think I was actually talking about something that I think that would be just crazy enough to work. You're doing Archie's Blastoise, well, you could also throw the one-if Primarina GX in there. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. You could Archie's that out, and a 250 HP GX is nothing to scoff at. I mean, it's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, true.
Bubble healing your Pokemon with I mean, hey, if you could get it off against Trevenant, you could be doing some stuff, some things.
There you go. All right, Kevin, you got the Hovercast shirt on that, and we know Jacob won, so
Yeah.
you got to be feeling, Blastoise. Is it the Hovercats play this weekend?
Well, the issue with that deck is that you have to play items to be a deck. Kind of an issue.
Yeah.
If you go first and get one Arceus off, you've done something right. If you kill anything after that, you probably win the game. But I'm guessing you're just not going to be able to do anything. Getting two Archies off in the same game, you're going to get a Primarina GX out? Alright.
Not against Trev. Not.
Yeah, no. Water Patch seems like a stretch when there's superior energy retrieval to be played. So, yeah, I think Archie's has probably seen its last days. As long as Trevenant's a thing. If they ban Trevenant, then maybe.
Yeah. I mean, also, food for thought, Charles Randall made a top 8 with
Yeah, he got second.
A second?
He got second.
Oh, he got second.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Trevenant in the finals, though.
Yeah, ironically enough.
Imagine that.
All right, I'm glad Riley knows this stuff. So, Riley, what about you? I mean, we saw Charles. He got second. I mean, does it have a shot at all?
I mean, I think Keldeo can always be a legitimate force, but losing that hard to Trevenant, and also Getsis and Hexmaniac, kind of always keeps it down just a little bit. The pressure it puts on early is insane, though, if you don't answer it immediately. I will say, if you're planning on running Aqua Patch in your Blastoise deck, please erase that from your deck list and add 4 Water Energy or Energy Retrievals or literally any other card, preferably. That's just something that'll be dead in your hand like immediately, and you'll regret it. Although I do think like Lapras with Aqua Patch can be a legitimate force and should not be underestimated.
All right, so the next question, we're bringing old school again. Well, not old school, but it seems like it's old school right now. Is Max's Evital still as good as it was? We know it lost like Archeops, and that was, it did help out a lot. But Gallade still seems like a good attacker right now. But Night March isn't the best matchup because I'm no longer going to attack with Dark REX because of Marshadow GX. Let's go, Riley. I mean, I know. Did you play a lot of cities with Max's Evital? I didn't know if you're around for that big cities.
I was about right before I came into the game.
Okay.
So I actually have been working a lot with Yveltal with lasers for this format, going sort of back to the old school laser route. I know that, and I've been working with Steve a little bit on bouncing Yveltal back and forth, and he takes the Maxis approach, I take the lasers approach, and they're both actually fairly effective, in my opinion. I like the lasers because you have the option to go Darkrai GX, Dark Patch, Attached, Laser, Dead End GX for a free knockout on anything, which to me is huge because Yveltal feels like it's a little bit lacking in its numbers right now. It's not quite hitting those big HP OKOs that it used to be. And Choice Band and Laser can really patch that up. And then Darkrai GX, obviously. But the Gallade just destroys Turbo Dark. It always has and always will. So that's a legitimate factor for Gallade. And you can slip the lasers into a Gallade build as well, but it's gonna be a little clunkier.
Okay. All right, how about you, Reno? I know you played when the YCG was a thing, if I remember correctly. No?
I think it's going to move a little bit away from the Maxis focus. If they do, maybe they'll put a higher emphasis on Maxis and Gallade, but I haven't been testing that. I've been working more with the build that Riley's been working, the lasers build, and seeing that have a little bit more success than we've seen now that Archeops is banned.
Okay. I know, Kevin, you played YZG a lot. You won multiple cities with it. You think that's better? You think the lasers version is better, like they were saying?
Well, Evital Maxis is different from YZG because, like, the Evital Maxis that was winning all the time was, like, Evital EX focused, which I think Evital EX is a liability nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's 2 prizes. It's probably not killing what it's getting killed by. So I think if you're going to play Dark and you're going to play an EX Dark, it should be Darkrai. If you're going to play Dark Maxis, I'm actually kind of working on YZG, Baby Yveltal or Gallade. The advantage that has is you're all Nani X's. So you're going to actually be able to trade evenly with Night March and not have to worry about Necrozma so much. So I think if you're going to play Dark, it's going to probably either be Darkrai. I would play a few lasers in Darkrai because I think Dead End is super good.
Dead End is amazing.
Or a Nani X focus. I think the Evil Tully X Maxis thing is just not good enough anymore.
Yeah, I would kind of want to bounce off that actually. In our testing, multiple people have like said to me, you know, you call this Eveltal lasers, but you're barely using Eveltal EX in the first place. You're like using O-Wing and Pitch Black Spear and Darkrai GX. You're not really using Eveltal EX. So and I kind of agree it is a liability and it's not hitting that same oomph right now.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 different ways to play Dark right now. Just to let you know. It's gonna be funny at regionals. Somebody's like, "What are you playing?" And you just say Dark, and they're just gonna smack you. Like, you know, like against
Dark with Don fan, maybe.
Dark with Don.
I don't know.
Fan.
We'll figure it out.
Hey man, you put Zork in there. You play DCEs. You're okay.
Hey.
Yeah, Zoroark Don fan with Vaporeon.
Rough seas. Oh, so good.
What doesn't it beat, honestly?
All right. So here we go, Reno. This question is just for you. Is Mega Ray the play? And if so, will Reno play Mega Quads and Magirna with me?
Mega Ray is always the play. And, well, except for in Standard after tomorrow. And probably not Metal. No, I'm not going to play Magirna with you.
Shut down.
I've considered it. I just don't think it's... I don't think Magirna is going to be pulling its weight at Fort Wayne. I really don't.
All right, so here's my question to you then. I'll say 2. What are your 2 favorite other type of color energy in it then?
Man, that's such a tough question. I'm like racking my brain trying to figure out what I want to play tomorrow just to have a little fun, a little spice in my Ray deck, you know? I would say my favorite is Lightning. I just like Lightning and Jolteon's cool. And then, you know what? That's my second favorite. My favorite is Dark, but there's no reason to play Dark in there, so can't do that. Everybody calls me bad when I do that. Just kidding.
Play one Dark patch, and then
Perfect. Genius.
one laser.
I mean, at the ERG thing, one of my friends played Mega Quaza, but he had Darkrai in there. But
It's good. It does the same thing Execute did. I mean,
yeah,
it refills your bench. It's good.
but
On that note, I think that Execute is just, in general, better. I don't know. I guess you could run into trouble with Trevenant, but you're already losing that matchup. Let's be real. It's a rough matchup.
hey, but if they bump your stadium, you can then discard the Pokemon you need to, and then
Please bump my stadium. Please bump my stadium.
I mean, the funny thing is, when he played Darkrai, he had Psychic Energy in his deck. He didn't have Dark Energies.
Well,
There you go.
That, I agree with that because...
You don't want it to absorb your energy.
Right, it has to take the dark energy out of the discard if you restore it. So you need those energies for your Rayquaques.
Yeah.
You also gotta have your Hyperspace Fury open.
Yeah. So you could
I
do
have
that.
Hyperspace Fury for game.
I think it was more for the Lele route, but we'll say Hyperspace Fury is the good thing as well. We'll go that way. That's fine. So.
You could do it one time, literally one time.
That's enough. Plenty of times.
Alright, so the next question is a pretty interesting one. I saw this weekend a lot of playthrough with this deck. It says, how strong of a presence will Espeon Garb have in the expanded meta? And if you watched any of the weekends, or any of the results from this weekend, or whatever from the past weekend, there was a lot of Espeon Garb being played. I know I saw Alex Hill playing it in Georgia. There was 7 people who made top cut with it. I don't know how it beats a Darkrai. I don't understand this at all, but... all right, Kevin, how about you? How do you think Espeon Garb has a place in the meta?
In Expanded?
Yeah.
You're telling me Alex Hill played Espeon Garb in Expanded?
Maybe it wasn't expanded, but I definitely saw him playing, and I just assumed it was expanded because every other tournament was expanded.
It was
Okay.
definitely
Alright.
played today
I
and
assumed-
expanded.
I assumed anybody playing Espeon Garb in Expanded just doesn't own an Expanded deck and was playing their standard deck. Like, that's what I would have thought about it. There's no way it's good in Expanded.
Well, maybe it was. I know for sure. I know because I saw somebody had a Leafeon in. I think it was Chris Hogue.
Yeah.
Chris Hogue played it, and Alex Szymanski played it at the cup I just went to today.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be
Couldn't see
surprised if Alex was actually
Couldn't see
playing.
it.
Like, I think it was expanded down in Georgia, if I remember correctly, unless I'm crazy.
Who won those tournaments? And what deck were they playing?
Trevenant won the one that Chris was at, and I
Yeah.
don't know the results of Georgia on top of my head right now.
Yeah, if you look at Trevenant card in the top right corner, there's this little purple thing up there, and yeah.
But I mean, if you hit for confusion with Espeon, do you actually have a chance against it, Kevin, or no?
Come on, no.
No.
What do you do? How do you beat Trevenant?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't know. All right.
The matchups seemed fairly close from what I saw today, actually, but maybe the Trevenant players were just not playing conservatively enough around Garbodor.
Yeah.
I will say Espeon's math is very, very bad against Trevenant.
Probably, yeah.
Even if you confuse them, they flip tails, and then you psychic them, you're hitting 150 out of 160. It's bad.
Yeah.
The deck might be fine, but the math with Trevenant's really bad.
But okay,
Trevenant should be playing Acerola, by the way. I think Trevenant should be playing Acerola.
Heard it here
Okay.
Because
first.
you do the same thing that Guardy does. You pick up the thing in the front and...
Yeah, that's how Acerola works.
Yeah. All right, but Riley, outside of that, do you think Espeon Garb has a place at all?
I think it has an interesting spot in the meta. The Leafeon was a really, really interesting tech for water, particularly Seismitoad. You can just wreck a Seismitoad, and they have to play items to catch back up. Also, Primal Groudon. It actually can keep up fairly well with Turbo Dark because Turbo Dark players just don't conserve anything. They just always go all in, burn 20 items turn one, and hope for the best. That's not a slam on Turbo Dark players because I play so much Turbo Dark. But that's just kind of, if you're facing the average Turbo Dark player, they're going to burn their items to kill your Espeon.
That's my plan. I'm just going to burn through my deck, and man, Garb hit me. Come on.
Yeah, you're going to burn those 20 items. You see this Espeon in front of you, you want it dead. You burn all those items, and then Garbodor smacks you for 400, and regrets were had. So I think there's a general spot for Garbodor in the meta. I'm not sure if it's paired with Espeon or going like a more tool droppy route, but I think it has a place.
Tool drop, maybe, but there's another popular deck that has a little purple symbol in the top right, and that goes by the name of Pumpkaboo.
Oh, the Pumpkaboo deck.
Yeah.
The Pumpkaboo deck. The Chandelier deck.
We start talking about tool drop, that's a whole nother
Wait,
thing.
I got the wrong Pokemon.
Shrine of
No,
Memories,
like a Garbodor-
Geist,
a Garbodor
anyone?
deck?
There we go, Gorgeist. I don't know why I
Some
thought
grass
Pumpkaboo
energy
was-
in there. You get it some 200 HP night markers.
Oh, baby.
Wait, this is bad.
Alright, how about you, Reno? You think Espeon Garb has a place in the meta?
I definitely see it continuing to be pretty good. I think Divide is just extremely powerful. I think Garbodor is extremely powerful. Expanded is like Standard was, just a couple months ago when Garbodor was dropped. Expanded is very item heavy, and Garbodor could really shake that up. So whether it's with Espeon or something else, I definitely think that Garb has a place, and like I said, Espeon does relatively well against a lot of threats too. So yes.
Okay. Now, the thing is, if you're wanting to play Donphan, you have Karina, so you really don't play that many item cards, so Garb's not really a big deal. Espeon's not going to really confuse you because you're going to send like a Holucha or a Robo-Sub, be like, whatever, who cares? It's like it does what, like 60 damage or 90, whatever it is? I can't remember much.
Was it 90?
Yeah.
Wait, Robo-Sub is an item, isn't it?
Yeah, but like that's your 4 you drop and that's it. Like Garb only hits for 80 then, so you're good.
Perfect. We want
You can rough seize that 80 down to
rough
50.
seize.
It's fine.
Yeah.
This is why we play Vaporeon, people.
Once they use Divide, then your focus ashes all stick, and they can't. Yeah.
All right. So, goodness, Kevin, I did not know you were actually serious about this, but somebody said, will the Noosa Viper from BUS be viable in Toad Bats, or is it its own deck? Evan, what do you
It
think?
is its own deck. Bats are obsolete. Viper is the way to play Toad, in my opinion, nowadays.
Oh, goodness.
It's you have a laser and you Verbank and you have Force of Vipers, you're going 70 back and forth. You know how ridiculous that is? That's way better than Pets. Way better.
All right. How about you, Reno? Have you thought about the Viper at all?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I haven't found it in any optimized lists or anything like that. I think it's super interesting, but I'm not going to be the one to do that testing.
Yeah. No, okay, you got a Fury belt, and you punch for 40, and you're doing 70 going that way. If they don't do anything about it, it's 70 coming back, and they die coming back to you.
That is actually insane. With Guzma, though, and, like, I don't know, Acerola, AC, I don't know.
You're still quaking punching for 110, which is
pretty good card.
That is insane, yeah. True.
How do you expect to get all your Vipers down turn 1 and hit the laser and the DC and the Fury belt?
Semantics.
Well, you don't need a turn 1.
Oh, you said turn 1, though.
I mean, if you're quaking punching on turn 1, that's enough. And then you worry about your lasers after the fact.
Well, there you go, Kevin. Looks like Kevin might be leaving Donphan.
To die to Trevenant.
I don't know what Donphan does in the face of a quaking punch to Viper.
It's better than Bats, I'll tell you that. Bats is a problem. The Viper, we might be able to deal with
that. You just play like Virizion in there, and then you attach grass energies to your Donphan. Or rainbow energies. There you go, that's how we're gonna take care of that.
This deck makes more and more sense every card we add.
We're just playing 4 rainbow, 4 strong, and 2 DCs, and there we go. That's our deck right there, boys.
That's what I run in normal decks anyway.
Alright, how about you, Riley? You feeling this Viper love or nah?
Yeah, I actually have some Vipers like set aside on my desk right now, just in case I decide to whip them out.
Oh, that's good.
I think it's an interesting archetype, like the Toad Viper. Although I am not totally sold on it being objectively better than Toad Bats, just because the flexibility of the bats is also not to be underestimated. Like you can, if you're against Primal Groudon, you can bat the Groudon on the bench, but you can't laser the Groudon at all.
Groudon's gone.
Groudon. Oh, well, I guess if Kevin claims the Groudon is gone, it probably is gone. But just the Groudon isn't the only example though. Like it's something to think about. Is the bats?
You got to worry about Donphan too. You're right.
You're right. Yeah. Exactly. But the bat's a powerful archetype.
Yeah. So be interesting to see if Kevin's Viper tricks will work and people will not play bats anymore or something. I don't know. Maybe they're not tricks. Maybe he's telling the truth. Who knows? So what is okay? Does Night March stand a chance with Marshadow even with Karen and Oricorio out in the field? Reno, let's go to you because you love Night March.
Yeah. Oh, I actually hate Night March. That's like my least favorite deck ever.
Just like Kevin
whenever my opponent flips over Joltik, I like die a little bit inside. I think it definitely has a place. Oricorio and Karen, and well, maybe not Oricorio as much, but Karen Toad is definitely being teched into a lot. But Night March is just still so good. It crushes rogue decks. I can't say that Night March is out by any means.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Riley?
See, I'm in the opposite camp. I love Night March. I love playing it. I love beating it when I'm against it. I think it has an actual place. It can take games off Trevenant going first, even in like a best of 3 scenario. Even I've had experience in doing so personally, although I played a different build totally, obviously, to what we're playing today. I think Night March is still legit, and if people are just teching in Karen and expecting Night March to go away, then it's not gonna work like that.
Okay. How about you, Kevin? I know you love Night March as much as Reno does.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do with you, Riley. You're playing Greninja, you're playing Night March.
And Donphan.
But yeah, it's good. Night March is always gonna be good. It just gotta hit the right meta, and Karen doesn't beat it every time. You have both Oricorio and Karen. Now we might be talking, but even like with that kind of stuff, if you're not a dedicated Toad deck, you can still slip for a turn, and then they're just way ahead, and you can't even come back. So
just be careful not to Karen and Oricorio in the same turn.
I'm playing 4 Oricorios in my campaign. Each one, 4 the different types, all 4.
They don't even synergize.
Pom pom punch. That's what the rainbows are for.
I can confirm that Kevin and I have talked quite a bit about Pom Pom Punch.
So good.
Oh my goodness. Alright, Riley. Well, since you're the only one who seems to like actually like Night March and maybe have tested it, I mean, I know the other two's probably tested against it, but would you rather prefer like a heavy March Shadow build, or would you use Mew still, or are you going like just basics attacker still? Like, how do you build Night March now? Is my big question.
I don't think Marshadow can be the focus unless you're going to go for some wacky focus sash variant. I think Marshadow is just an option. Like, you use it to get those higher numbers, you use it to hit Darkrai for weakness and smash it in the face. I don't know if Mew is actually necessary anymore. I would still personally use it. It's just something I've always had a preference towards, but I don't think you need more than one of either card. You could do 2 Marshadow, you could justify 2, but I don't think you need more than one of each.
Okay, alright. So, I'm doing some weird questions right now because I like asking these questions. All right, Reno. So when Rayquaza was first being played, it was paired with a good guy named Bronzong. Do you think that ever stands a chance again, or do you think there's no way you would play Bronzong Mega Ray?
I would never play Bronzong Mega Ray. That would be a completely different... I mean, maybe if I had some crazy aspirations to make some kind of, like, toolbox, like metal toolbox, and then Mega Ray is just, hey, you got like a line of Mega Ray in here. Maybe, I don't know, that could be fun, but no, it's probably not coming back anytime soon.
Oh man, that's my baby though. Don't hurt him yet. He might be good. All right.
He could be. I could be completely wrong.
Alright, Kevin, so you talked about Groudon is dead. Why is it dead now? I mean, like, we lost Archeops, so like, I mean,
Archeops wasn't the problem.
I know Archeops was the problem. So what changed it so much that it's a dead deck now?
Well, Trevenant got this card called Necrozma and made it really good. You already didn't beat Trevenant, and now you very much don't beat Trevenant, and then Night March is still around. You don't even necessarily beat Darkrai, which is a problem. Like, you used to beat the Dark decks just because, like, they couldn't get 2 things that could kill your Groudon before. Like, and now they can. So, yeah, I don't think Groudon's going to do well.
Okay. All right. Now, Kevin, here's another question I have. I'm going to keep going back towards make a line. Kevin, we know that a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you won with this deck called Wobbuffet Bats. Do you think there's any way it stands a chance in this new format now?
No, the whole point of Wobbuffet Bats was to, like, make it so they don't play Shaman. Because you don't do enough. Like, Wobbuffet's still a great card, but the fact that Lele exists makes the slow versions of Wobbuffet not good enough.
Okay.
Like, the whole point was they just don't get to play. And, yeah.
Okay.
I actually never heard of this deck before, and that's amazing. I'm so...
Wobbuffet Bats is mathed down deck, man.
I can't believe I've never heard of that before.
Well, don't worry, Reno. If you want to watch the finals, there's a video of Kevin playing in the finals against somebody.
I'm going to look that up immediately after this.
You should. It's on the channel we're currently on right now.
That's amazing. Done. Done already.
You watch somebody misplay not to win in that video, too. So.
Hey, man. You just couldn't deal with Great Ball. Great Ball was too good.
Yeah, Kevin did play Great Ball on his list.
2 Great Balls.
Not the first or the last time, I'm sure. He plays some wacky stuff. Hard charm over here.
Hopefully it's legal when I play it next time.
Alright, so Riley, here's a question I have you for, I guess, the newest player that's here right now. If you're a new player going to tournament, like, how do you even like prepare for something like expanded? Like, you don't have like really access to all these cards to test, and like, you know, maybe if you're a new player, you don't have all these friends to start testing expanded. How would you go around and start like getting prepared for it?
So an interesting way to deal with testing if you're kind of isolated is to be willing to proxy up 2 decks and just play them against themselves, get a feel for how they work. I think probably, and at least how I operate, the most important thing is understanding how just decks function, how they flow. And if you just get a couple games in with a couple different decks, you'll get an idea, at least, of what you're going into. The problem with Expanded is it's really broad, and you can go 9 rounds facing 9 decks you've never seen or played against before, just by virtue of Expanded. And I think the key to that is just being really, really comfortable with what you're going in with, knowing a general game plan and adjusting that, being able to adjust that game plan on the fly based on what's in front of you.
Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so I just want to keep asking like Mega Rayquaza players questions because I know that's all I know is he plays Mega Rayquaza. Supposedly, that's what it seems like.
But definitely my favorite deck. It's definitely not the only deck that I test or play with my group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I've definitely been riding it pretty strong here towards the end. That's for sure.
But okay, so here's my question: I'm kind of the same way too, because like with Decidueye, I'm playing Decidueye. Last year it was Vesqueen. I'm playing Vesqueen. How hard is it to someone like convince you not to play Mega Ray or something like? And this is for any deck. Like if you're sold on this deck, like when do you decide? All right, I need to change from Mega Ray to X deck because of I don't know what was the reasoning. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm kind of having this issue right now. You know, Trevenant is such a big deck, and it's like a problem that I'm facing, and I don't really know if there's like a tech that I can do to beat it. I definitely feel very strong about my matchups in other places, and if I didn't feel that way, I would definitely be dropping the idea. In general, I've always felt like Mega Ray has been, you know, not necessarily broken, but just really strong in its own right. Its strategy as a card is, you know, is very strong. Is very strong. I've always felt that way. And if people don't tech for Mega Ray, they will lose to Mega Ray a lot of the time. So, I mean, it's weird in a format where like Trevenant and Night March are so big, but I have answers to Night March. I have answers to the other decks in format. And I feel like that's definitely enough for me to continue the thought process that it's strong enough to keep playing. It wouldn't take a lot more for me to maybe test more things a little bit more heavily and, you know, not be certain that I'm playing Mega Ray, but at this point I'm pretty certain.
Okay. All right. So, I guess as I always like to do, what tips would you give to somebody who's going to like their first regionals this weekend? Like, there's probably a bunch of new people who are coming into this format right now thinking, you know, 400 points is easy. I go in $5,000. I go in a lot of money. And this is the first expanded tournament, first big tournament. What's like one tip you would give somebody? And we'll go Reno, you first.
One tip I would play somebody. You can't do that to me. I got to give two, if that's okay.
That's fine. You give it three. 1, 2, 3. I don't care.
Okay.
Well,
the first
four.
one is to definitely play a deck that you know inside and out. The deck that you're most comfortable with, or one of your two most comfortable decks. And the second one would be to just get as much experience playing as many different kinds of decks with that deck, or at least just watching them on YouTube. But whatever you can do to see how these decks play is really helpful, especially the streamed games when you can kind of see people's hand and kind of understand their thought process a little bit. It's really important to know, like Riley said, what your opponent is doing when they flip over a card and you realize you're playing against Raikou Eels or whatever, you know?
All right. So how about you, Riley? What would be some tips you give somebody?
Okay, so I have kind of two tips, but they're out-of-game tips. One tip that I find super helpful at a regional is eat something healthy in the morning, like at least a banana or something, like a fruit. If you're eating junk all day, you're just going to be totally crashed at the end of it. You're not going to have any energy. 9 rounds is a very long time in best of 3, especially at the regionals that aren't as fantastically run and go very, very late. So just in general, keeping up with your health, sleeping well, eating well. And then another tip I would have, and I've seen so many people fall victim to this, is making last-minute list decisions. You know, if you're going to make a Hail Mary and pick a deck the day of, that's one thing. But if you have your list that you've had for 2 days, 3 days, and you're about to turn it in, and someone utters the word Giratina, so you cross off a card and write Pokemon Ranger, that Pokemon Ranger, I guarantee you will be dead all day. So avoid those decisions. Stay on your health. You'll find some success, I promise.
Okay. How about you, Kevin? What tips you give somebody?
Somebody going to their first regional, even if it's like your first few regionals, I would not worry about the tournament results, like in the slightest. I would say focus more on just kind of learning the atmosphere, the experience, what it actually takes to get through the tournament. Like Riley said, it's a very long experience, especially when you're playing upwards of 27 games in a day. It's like 10 hours minimum. I would say just get used to the feel of a regionals, and then don't worry about your record. Like, it's not worth stressing over something when there's like 600-700 people there. Like, even tons of good players bomb out of regionals. So I would just, experience is key. If you're just trying to get better in general, I would say watch as many videos of games as possible. Like, go back and watch the world streams and all that stuff, just to get a feel for what, good players do in a game-to-game basis, like, regardless of what the decks are. I think the finals in Masters was really good for that, how Diego won that game by deck up. It's just a really good example of things that you just only learn by seeing games get played and just getting the experience.
Mm-hmm. The two things I'll add, I know they didn't really say this, but one is sleep. I see a bunch of people always like, I get no sleep. I'm like, that's stupid. You're supposed to play 12 hours Pokemon. It is like, I'm literally tired from playing 9 rounds of Pokemon than working a 12-hour shift of my job. Like, I can play 5 rounds of Pokemon and I'm drained compared to working 12 hours at my job. Like, that's so dumb to think about, but the mind games is what tires me out so much. So sleep.
I completely understand that.
Yeah. So sleep is definitely key. And my next one, if you're brand new to Pokemon, and when I asked, like, Riley this question, try to make friends. Like, I know that seems, like, very dumb to say, but making connections outside of your group is a fantastic thing to do, because then you get to find what people are doing across everywhere. We might have sites like 6 prizes and 60 cards and all that kind of stuff discussing, like, the general stuff. Like Kevin, he, like, said, like, Toad's a Viper, and I'm like, what is he talking about right now? I've never heard of this deck before. Like, if you don't have friends outside your community, you're going to be so lost when you go to regionals, because in your community, like at Memphis, you don't think you're the best, then you go outside, and you're like, man, I'm the best, I'm at Memphis, and you go out, and you bomb, and you don't know what's going on, and you play against a bunch of fighting decks, you're playing dark. I don't know. That'd be my 2 big things I always tell people. So.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, but another thing I'll talk about, and Reno kind of talked to this a little bit, and that is with teams. Something new we saw last year, it's coming this year. I mean, NLG just has because they've had a team before, right? Or no?
NLG has never had a Pokemon team before, and this is their inaugural.
I thought they had, like, another, like, did they have, like, other teams besides Pokemon?
No, to my knowledge, they never.
Okay, they did a bunch of vending last year.
That's where I've heard them. Okay, I knew I heard them somewhere. I couldn't remember where.
They're a major vendor for several regionals, and have been for a couple years, for sure.
Okay, all right. So with the team stuff, do you think this is a good or bad thing in the community? I don't know. I just wonder how people feel about it. Kevin, let's go with you. Do you think it's a good or bad thing for the community?
I think it's a positive. It just kind of gives a little bit of legitimacy to the game, and it kind of gives you something to strive for. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about this this coming year, getting to work with a bunch of guys at NLG and try to see what we can come up with and see how we can do as a team. I think there's a little bit of stuff to still figure out with how the specifics are working and all that, but it's only going in the right direction.
All right, how about you, Riley? I know you're one of the newer players, so how do you feel about this team, like, atmosphere going forward?
I definitely agree with the legitimacy thing. We're almost moving in more of an esports direction with Pokemon as the events get larger and teams start to get involved, sponsorships become a factor, which is good. It promotes the game growth, and as more brands come into the stream, the events can start to get larger and have more backing to them, and more people will be drawn to them, which will allow the game to grow further. So overall, I think it's a positive. My biggest fear is I don't want it to get so cliquey. Like, I don't want there to be like team hatred or rivalries to the point that it's like negative, because I think of Pokemon as being just like this insanely positive, welcoming kind of game. I think a lot of people feel the same, and I don't want that to change, but I don't think it will. I think it's looking very positive. I can't really see much negative coming out of it right now.
And how about
it's good to have some healthy rivalry.
Oh yeah, and that's
right.
I mean,
that's fine. I don't want there to be bitterness.
We kind of already saw that too with like 6 cards and like 6 prizes. Like when you go to tournaments and stuff like that. Like which one has the best riding team? So now we have the best. Like what's the best team overall? pretty cool to see already. So how about you, Reno? You think it's a good or bad thing?
I definitely agree that it's a good thing. I just feel like more, maybe more publicity and more people getting involved and businesses getting involved and maybe investing is definitely bringing more popularity to the game, which, who doesn't want that? We all wanted to grow in like an esports manner, and we all want to have more opportunities as players to go to these events and perform well and see our friends and, just get some games of Pokemon in. So overall, in every way, generally, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. And the good thing about like the sports team right now, it seems like Pokemon is starting to accept them. I don't know if you watched the World Championship compared to the National Championships. It definitely allowed people to wear shirts on stream as long as it wasn't a .com on there or
Right.
they didn't have a Pokemon symbol on there. It looked like they allowed it. They're like, whatever, that's fine, you can have it. So it looks like Pokemon is starting to allow it, so that's a good thing for sure. And one of the big things I bring this up to, if you go to the Top Cut events and you go to the Memphis Regionals, like I found this out today, if you look at it, and it says No Limit Gaming has been chosen as a sponsor for our first of 4 VI Team stages. Not sure what that is, but if you go on there, it looks like something about the VIP stages. There's No Limit and CCG Castle, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out in Memphis. It does look like they're involved with the team atmosphere as well, so it'll be pretty cool to see how that all works out. But yeah, but anybody else want to say anything else before we head out?
Thank you for having us, that's for sure. We really appreciate being on.
I love being a fish knuckler. A Don fan, man.
So I think the thing we learned this from this video is we're all gonna play Don Fan this weekend.
Don Fan is the call. 2-2 Vaporeon line for Rusties.
No, you have a Vaporeon
1-1.
and Jolteon because they both proc Rusties.
You need 2 Vaporeons in there.
How are you going to fit all these Oricoreos and Rainbow Energies?
And the
We'll
Karens,
find a
all
way.
4 of them.
Yeah.
We
Fine.
just no VS Seeker. Like that's what's gonna be the key right there. So that way you have a
Right.
better chance of beating Trevenant.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
BS
That's true.
Seeker,
That's
no
true.
Ultra Ball, only Pokemon.
What's Trevenant going to do after you Karen them? Nothing. They can't come back from that.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. I hope, man, if someone makes top 32 Don Fan, I'm gonna freak out. It's gonna be an amazing day.
It might be me.
You heard it here first, right here.
Dude, I'm gonna go
The
hug him.
the finals of this regional is going to be
Don Fan,
versus...
Viper, Oricorio, Vaporeon.
Don
And-
Fan Mirror.
No.
GG.
Don Fan versus Marshadow Dunk. That's going to be the final. It's gonna be over in 10 minutes flat.
Well, if you're saying it's over 10 minutes flat, you're assuming that that Marshadow Dunk's winning.
Well, I mean, yeah, they just went on the first turn without giving the other guy a turn.
Genius.
Can't beat it.
Perfect. Marshadow Dunk, that's the play.
You heard it here first.
Get that routes out of here. I'm gonna hit it for a billion damage turn 1. I just can't wait to like.
Wait, I know it's a knockout, but I'm not done.
Yeah.
The
Like, you go
poison's
to-
already knocking me out, but there's more I want to do. Please. hold
You
on.
go to time just from the BM alone.
Oh yeah, you take your full seconds on those
Yeah.
every single action in your turn 1 dog.
Oh my
Let's do
goodness.
it.
Terrible.
I hate
Please
that-
don't do this.
I hate that Kevin says this kind of stuff. Now it makes me want to test a Viper. Or makes me want to test this Marshadow bullcrap stuff. Goodness. Thanks, Kevin. You're the best.
Anytime.
But what happens if you start with Latios then?
What happens if they start with like a Lapras and it's 190 HP?
Well, they're not going to. You can actually hit 190.
Okay, you said 180, man.
180 is the target. Like that. If you
Alright,
don't
so
hit
how do-
180, it's not a death.
How do you hit 190, Kevin? Explain.
All right. Well, you have to run super hot on your shaman draws first of all. You're playing Skyfield, a bunch of shamans. You're gonna have 7 damage buffers on your bench. You're gonna have 4 Regirocks and 3 Survivors, and then you had to use a shaman because you started with Marshadow, obviously. You got to run super hot, but you can do it. And you have to use all 4 plus powers. You got to have your choice band, obviously, your laser.
Is it
And
physically
you might have
possible to
to-
draw this much?
You might have to use your dowsing on a plus power or something. Or if you draw super well, you can use Kukui as your supporter for the turn.
Ooh.
This is definitely way too many cards. That's like 8 mulligans.
190 is tough, but if you're only having to hit like 170, that's easy.
Wow.
I hope nobody's taking Kevin super serious. I hope they don't like start testing the mess out of this.
I'm gonna get donked this week. I'm definitely getting donked by Marshadow.
One, the kid just laughs, and he's like, "I just learned this from you, Kevin." And he's like, "Oh boy."
Hey, you're the guy from the video. Check
Starts
this out.
Marshadow, compressor, Latios. Oh god.
Skyfield, 4 Regirock from hand.
Bike for 4, keep going.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Kukui for Shaman, laser.
Yeah.
Come on. Stop.
I can't wait to see this in action. Goodness, Kevin. I'm so mad that I've already recorded Expanded Thursday. Why would you do this to me?
Rogue Friday, whatever. I don't know.
Fan Friday.
Rogue Friday.
Hello.
Fan Friday. Have you done Fan Friday yet?
Yeah, Fan Friday is unfortunately Blastoise, Emboar, Keldeo, Rayquaza.
Oh my gosh, you actually did it.
Can't stop that.
Whoa, that is a lot.
I saw that
There's
it was
a lot
Wicker
going
Bell.
on there.
I know, I haven't played it yet, but that's what won, so I gotta keep my promise. That's what won this. I'm
Is it-
excited.
Is
Very
it Archie? Is it Archie's?
Nope,
Blastoise,
nope. It's a
Rare Candy,
222
Emboar?
Emboar and a 222 Blastoise. He made the
Okay.
whole list. The first list
Oh,
was
man.
65 cards, and I said, "Man, you got to minus 5 cards, and I'll play it." And he minus 5 cards, so we're playing it now.
Nice.
So that's the Fan Friday. Maybe next Friday, Kevin, if you suggest that deck, maybe you'll win.
Well, after it wins regionals, you're gonna have to play for main deck Monday.
You can tell Kevin's not a fan because main deck money's never expanded. Thanks, Kevin. Real supporter out
It
there.
is now.
You're not a knuckler.
Hey, we have like 50-50 on regionals being expanded this year. You should do some main deck Mondays and expanded.
That's what expanded Thursday's for. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. Fan Friday's usually standard, right? How come standard gets
There's
all
a
the love?
system, Kevin.
Fan Friday's whatever anybody suggested, Kevin.
I'm taking over.
No, you're not.
Schedule.
Good luck finding the password. Alright, guys. Well, are we good? Everybody else want to say anything else before we head out here?
Thank you, man.
I'm
Thanks
good.
for having us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Alright, guys. But this weekend, if you see us at Fort Wayne, come let us know. Wait, are you going to have shirts this weekend or no?
I
No
don't
shirts
think
this
so.
weekend.
No shirt, not even like a NLG like basic shirt on or anything like that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Alright.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Come say hi. I'm
Yeah.
friendly. We're all friendly. Come say hi.
Go say hi to the NLG guys, me,
Kevin
Kevin.
bites, but it's fine.
Yeah. So.
He doesn't have rabies, it's fine.
That's true.
Alright, guys. Well, shout out to these 3 guys once again for doing this video. I really do appreciate it, especially it being like 12:20 y'all's time. I think y'all are all Eastern or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only
Yep.
11 right here. So, but guys, thank y'all for doing this. And if you're watching this whole video, thank you for watching the whole thing. I know it's been a little crazy, a lot of different stuff going on, and can't believe you're going to play either Donphan or Sizetoad Viper. No, not Sizetoad. Marshadow Viper this weekend. So,
Why bother locking their items when you can KO them instantly?
They don't even get a turn. How are they going to play items?
oh my goodness. I can't wait till somebody asks what does Latios do. That's my favorite question in the comments. We'll just leave that a mystery. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Good luck this weekend. Come up to us, say hi. Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
Alright guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to our 3 sponsors, 60 Cards, Yeti Gaming, and the Pokemon Company International. Links to everything will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty.